Welcome to the Ask Steph show. Today's question that I'll be answering comes from Amy, and she asked, why is it that one day I wake up and I'm one weight and the next day I'm 5 pounds heavier? Why does my weight fluctuate so much? So I want to start with a personal story first, and then I'm going to go into the details. When I was, I'm going to say, I think about 20 years old or so, I was so addicted to measuring my weight. It's not even funny. I had the scale in my bathroom at college, and every morning I'd wake up and measure my weight, and I'd measure it a couple more times throughout the day. Now that is very excessive, you guys. Really, measurements only need to be taken once every week or every 2 weeks, unless you're strictly prepping for something. But the reason being is because you can easily have very large weight fluctuations throughout the day and throughout several days, just based on things that are out of your own control. For example, my husband, in the morning he might weigh something, and then at night he might weigh 10 pounds heavier. And you guys, that's just things like water weight, and it's based on his workout and how much food he eats. And for me, I might fluctuate 5 pounds throughout the day, So there's a lot of variables that go into affecting your weight, and you shouldn't let that bring you down, and you shouldn't become obsessive over it like I did when I was in college. It got so bad to the point where I would wake up, and if I was 2 pounds heavier than the day before, I would get like anxiety over it, and I would be like, oh, I'm just not going to eat today because I don't want to gain more weight. Well, that was just stupid because I was obsessing over my weight, even though probably my inch measurements probably would have been the same if I took them, but I didn't because I was stupid at that time. But you guys, don't become obsessive about it. I became so obsessed that one day I was like, you know what, I'm just sick of looking at the scale. I grabbed it, I ran out to the parking lot, and I just slammed that thing down, shattered it in pieces, threw it away, and was like, finally, just release myself from that obsession of weighing myself. And in order to track my health and fitness progress from then on out, I just focused on how my clothes were fitting me and how I felt. And you know what? It made me a lot healthier of a person and a lot happier because I was no longer obsessing over a number on the scale that wasn't even a good reflection of my progress in the first place. So with that story, keep that in mind. We're now going to shift focus, and I want to talk about the things that can affect your weight throughout the day and throughout the week. Okay, so the most obvious thing that affects your weight is what food you're intaking throughout the day. If I go out and I eat a whole pound burger and a ton of very dense food, I'm obviously going to put on more weight that day than if I go out and have a light salad, regardless of calories. Just what you're putting into your body is going to make you gain weight. And normally a 3 to 5 pound increase in weight from morning to night is very typical for the average size person. But like I said, for like my husband, who's more large, like bodybuilder type body, he puts even upwards of 10 pounds on throughout the day. And that's normal because the next morning he wakes up back right where he should be, So what you eat affects your body weight. Therefore, it's always recommended that if you're going to take any sort of progress measurements, whether it be weighing yourself, taking inch measurements, taking progress pictures, or just going by how you're feeling or how clothes are feeling, those 4 ways to measure progress, you should always do them first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. And that's the only time you really need to do it. You don't need to do it again at night because all these other factors I'm going to go over now affect it by the time you take them at night. So just do them first thing in the morning. Keep it consistent because that will rule out a lot of other variables. Okay. So in addition to food that you're intaking, how many carbs you intake affects your weight as well. The reason being is because carbohydrates are stored as glycogen in our muscles. For each gram of glycogen that is in our muscles, there's 3 to 4 grams of water. So if you think about it, taking in more carbs, you're going to actually store more water weights, and it's not necessarily body fat that you're putting on. It might just be water weight that you're holding on to because you had a high carb day the day before. In addition, sodium does a very similar thing in that if you eat a high sodium diet, your body's going to hold on to more fluid as a result. So if you were to go from high sodium diet to low sodium diet, you probably lose a lot of water weight. Another thing, and I learned this in my college years, is when you go out and you drink a lot of alcohol, oftentimes the next morning you wake up lighter. The reason being is that alcohol kind of does the opposite of carbs and sodium that like to hold on to the water weight. It actually decreases your water weight, which decreases the weight on the scale. And I quickly found that out because in college I was going out 3 or 4 nights a week drinking, and I would wake up later the next day and I felt great because I was actually just dehydrating myself. Same thing with, say, like going to a hot yoga class. Yeah, you're going to come back maybe a pound or 2 later because you just dehydrated yourself and sweated it all out. So you've got to rehydrate and keep enough water within your body, or else you're going to start having some symptoms of dehydration. Okay, your weight is also affected by your hormones. So ladies, when you are about to start your period, probably a few days beforehand, you probably notice that you do put on a few pounds. How much you put on really varies person to person. I usually put on 2 to 3 pounds, but some people can put on upwards of 10 pounds during their period. So keep that in mind, and don't think that it necessarily means that you did something wrong with your training or nutrition. It's just when you're on your period, your hormones are going through something a little bit different. You start bloating a little bit more, holding more water weight, and that's life. So just know that, hey, lucky you, in like 5 days you're going to wake up feeling nice and light again. So it's awesome. So all in all, there are many different causes of weight fluctuations, even more than I've mentioned. So keep that in mind. What I like to do for myself personally is measure my progress more based on my inch measurements and my progress pictures. Really focusing on that. Because if you think about it, if you're training in the gym and you're actually putting on more muscle, well, yeah, you're going to put on more weight. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're getting fatter or putting on more body fat. You're just putting on more muscle. So you can't always go by the scale weight. For example, a couple years ago, before I started lifting heavy and I was mostly just a runner, I stood around 116 pounds. That was it. About the same body fat that I'm at now. But now I'm closer to 124 to 126 pounds. Did I put on 10 pounds of fat? No, I've put on a ton of muscle because I learned how to lift correctly and I learned how to work hard in the gym and actually kick my butt and not just go in and, try and look pretty in the gym, So don't make all your progress based on just that number on the scale. These other factors to keep you on track. So thanks for watching the Ask Steph show again. I really appreciate you guys' support, and thanks for sending in questions for me to answer. Don't forget, if you want to send in your own question, I am more than happy to answer it. All you have to do is go to beautifultothecore.com and subscribe to my website, and I will email you and get your questions from there. Thanks, guys.